Howdy there, gang. Hope you're all doing well. It's just Adam here, just checking in at the beginning of the episode. Just wanted to quickly say that this month has been a bit all over the place, recording-wise, because Calder got married and he's been very busy, and I've got a bunch of stuff going on. So we had a hard time finding time to record this month. So this episode was a little bit of a rush job. Calder came over, quickly recorded the podcast with me, and then went home, and it wasn't until he left that we realized that he had accidentally recorded with his laptop microphone instead of his actual microphone, so his audio is absolutely garbage. I tried to do my best with it. I had to cut out basically any time I talk from his audio, and it was pretty rough, but hopefully it's not that bad. Hope you enjoy the episode anyway. Okay, guys, bye-bye.
You fucking moron.
Sup, guys?
What the fuck?
Welcome. Welcome to.
Is that actually what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't want to do it again. Welcome everybody to Screen Share, a movie podcast about getting jerked off onto the table in front of the whole family.
And he knows about that. The guy who's talking. What?
You forgot my name?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
What is your name?
John Beckwith.
Okay.
That's Owen Wilson's character's name in this movie. I don't know.
Calder.
You're Calder?
Yeah.
Nice. That's news to me. Before we jump into this movie, let's do a little recap, because for people who listened to last episode, The Wedding Planner.
It's our biggest episode yet.
I don't know that. I genuinely have not looked.
It's not.
But in that episode, we had your at the time fiance Hillary on.
I guess she's still on right now.
Yeah, technically, she's in the room right now.
I don't think she can make words though.
But
she's very sleepy.
But the person, your fiance Hillary, doesn't exist anymore, because now, what happened over the weekend, Calder?
Well,
A big sigh.
Yeah, I'm just tired. We got married. It was good.
Yeah.
We've been driving a bunch.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, or I guess on purpose. Not as a fun thing.
Yeah, you just got a lot going on now.
Yeah.
Your married life is entering full swing.
I guess, man. I feel like it's still. I don't know. Something's fucked up right now, and I don't know what it is.
Something's fucked up right now.
Well, actually, it's our internet. Bella's bending me over a barrel.
I had someone visit today to fix our internet.
Bella's bending us over a barrel.
Oh yeah.
And Bell is having his way with us. Alexander Graham Bell. The ghost of Alexander Graham Bell.
I was walking down the street and saw a manhole cover that said Bell on it. I was like, is that the same Bell that is like an internet phone company?
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was like, they just like also provide manhole covers and shit.
Oh, man. Oh, buddy. What the fuck are you talking about? You think they made the manhole cover? That's the business?
No, I think that's like another thing they do.
You think another thing they do is making manhole covers?
Dude, there's plenty of companies that like do other stuff. Doing internet isn't the only thing.
Buddy, that's where they run the wires for their telephones and their internet through. That's
through the sewers?
That's just marking that it's a Bell tunnel for wires.
Oh, damn. I just truly was like...
You thought they were making manhole covers?
Yeah, but they must have made the manhole cover.
You can't get someone to make a manhole cover, my man.
I'm not saying that Alexander Graham Bell welded that by himself.
I think you're saying he's a blacksmith. Alexander Graham Bell is...
I just saw that and was like, I didn't realize this was like, what's going on here? I didn't know they went through the sewers. I thought they went through the like grass and under the roads. I guess that's where the manhole tunnels go.
Yep.
So
So you got hot start, my man.
You got married. Last episode we said that if someone crashed your wedding, Hillary would be on this episode as well. Happy to say. I was about to say happy to say she's not on the episode, meaning that happy to say there wasn't a wedding crasher.
But she is on the episode.
Well, she's here, but you know, she's not allowed to say a peep.
There wasn't a wedding crasher, but there was other things that happened.
There was a wedding choker.
That's where we'll leave it.
Yeah.
I've got a body on my hands. Anyway.
It's not true. Anyway, the wedding was great. I'll speak on behalf of Calder. It was a good time. I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of you, like whether you.
I think you don't like it when strong men speak, so you're trying to silence strong men.
No, it's just.
I don't know what the fuck that was. I'm losing it. We got to start talking about the movie. The wedding was good.
Yeah, it was a blast. Good time.
No crashers.
It was a beautiful day, a beautiful evening.
It rained.
It did rain, but honestly, like. It did. I don't think it like.
No, the rain was fine.
Yeah, it was light for the most part.
Wedding Crashers.
So this movie is directed by
David Dobkin. I am doing Adam's research for this episode.
Yeah.
Who's I don't know, man. I don't know if he's good. He's directed another movie that is a big one for us. But his first movie was Clay Pigeons, not the Michael Cera musical album.
Okay.
Then he did Shanghai Nights with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson. You ever seen that one?
No.
I haven't either. I think it's like supposed to be Rush Hour but with a white guy.
Yeah. And
set back in time. For some reason, Owen Wilson's there. Then Wedding Crashers in 2004. Is it 2004? Okay. 2005, I think. Then Fred Claus, another Vince Vaughn classic, you know.
I haven't seen that one either. And I'm a Vince Vaughn
guy.
It's
Vince Vaughn's Elf, I'd say.
Was it like released around the same time as Elf?
A couple years after. Okay. Elf was like 2002. I need to get these years right. So this was 2005. Elf was 2002, I believe. 2003. Sorry. Elf was Christmas 2003. Wedding Crashers was 2005. And then Fred Claus, it's not going to be on this page, but Fred Claus was a couple years after Vince Vaughn. You know, this is Vince Vaughn's peak.
Oh, yeah.
After that.
And I think this is Vince Vaughn in the best role possible for him, which is like he has probably just as much screen time as Owen Wilson for the most part, or at least pretty close, but he's not the main guy.
And he doesn't have to do like emotional stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of a scumbag.
Yeah. But also there's a genuine moment or two in there.
Yeah.
The issue is like the movie Dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
He's the lead of that one.
Yeah.
Because he has to be like a relatable and emotionally open main character, he kind of can't focus fully on being a goofy, silly guy.
Yeah.
In this movie,
he's got to be like a down on his luck kind of guy.
Yeah. Like, and it feels like even when he is doing jokes in that movie, like, it's not as often and it's not as committed because he has to have a character arc of emotional growth. In this, he doesn't really, like, aside from what?
Going from not wanting to be married to being married.
Yeah, that's, like, basically it. So he can kind of just commit fully to being funny.
So, I'm going to go through the director. So Fred Claus, then The Change Up.
Oh, dear.
We watched that one together. That's a good one. That's a really good one because they pee in the fountain and then
switch bodies.
And then they switch bodies, and that's really funny.
And then they both want to and almost cheat on their wives.
Yeah, but then they don't because they're good guys.
Yeah. Even though they both say they want to and get really close.
Yeah, but they don't because they're good guys.
Yeah.
Then he did The Judge with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay.
And then he did that Eurovision movie with Will Ferrell that came out during the pandemic, which is fine.
I heard it was fine. I didn't see it.
So he's like kind of a mixed bag. He also did a lot of Maroon 5 music videos.
Nice.
Like the Sugar music video, I think. Or whichever one where they crash the weddings.
I think that was, yeah, I do.
And his next thing is like a documentary on Maroon 5's tour or
Dude,
something.
do you think Adam Levine was just like, I've got this idea for a music video where we like crash weddings. Let's hire the director of wedding crash.
Let's get the guy for sugar.
Yes, please.
Oof. It's like when Drake's God's Plan video was like him at that place handing out cash.
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck thought of this?
I don't know, man.
So The Wedding Crashers, the film, is about
crashing weddings. Well, it's more about Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn's friendship.
Mm-hmm. They're two divorce mediators. They work together to mediate divorces. So they're pretty jaded on the idea of marriage.
Yeah.
But
they do love weddings.
They do love weddings because it's a party and you can get some love made. We'll keep it there.
Okay.
Even though there's a montage of naked breasts in this movie.
Although I will say, it seems like Vince Vaughn's priorities lay a little bit more with like snacks.
Yeah,
like,
he's like, he wants the crab cakes. Yeah, he wants the crab cakes. He wants the finger food.
Yeah. So those little pastries over there on that table, you got to try. And Owen Wilson's like, I'm just trying to find love.
Yeah.
Because Owen Wilson is kind of like, they go through their whole shebang. But then one of the girls that Owen Wilson sleeps with kind of like puts it pretty plainly that he's like kind of manipulating people by being like, are you only 50% full of shit or 100%? And he's like, I hope 50%. And then she leaves, and that kind of like makes him be like, are we like being bad guys?
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of wants to get out of it because he's like, Vince Vaughn says we're pretty young. And Owen Wilson's like, we're not that young.
Damn.
Which then comes back when Rachel McAdams says the same thing to Owen Wilson, because that's a thing that happens in real life, is people say the exact same thing that you say to someone to you later when you need it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's like...
That's good writing.
There we go.
I hit my mic when I said that.
That's good. I'm proud of you, man. I'm glad you have no spatial awareness at all.
Yeah.
So they go to these weddings. They go to the season's over, but then, the U.S. Secretary of Treasury or whatever, Christopher Walken.
Big guy.
His daughter, Rachel McAdams.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's not getting married. Some other fucker's getting married.
Her other sister.
Okay.
Her sister, I think.
Yeah, well.
Who like loves sailing. And
that's true. They love sailing.
Loves sailing.
Will you be my first mate?
Will you be my captain?
So we're at the wedding. Owen Wilson spots Rachel McAdams. And he goes, I need me a piece of that. And he falls in love with her because while they're doing their written vows, which the couple did, and they mentioned their sailing shit and all that, she's giggling. And he's like, oh, she's not like other girls. Because all the other girls are like paying attention. Yeah. They're like, at attention.
But she thinks her calling him her captain is silly.
Yeah, and Owen Wilson's like, yeah, that's the girl for me.
Which, like, on one hand, the captain and, like, first mate stuff, horrible.
Yeah,
like
you're going to say it at your wedding, but yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I love sailing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand...
Nothing this guy likes more than being exposed fully to the sun.
Yeah, I love it. And having nowhere to go. Yeah. Except the water, where I have to, like, swim for a long period of time. Love that. But at the same time, Rachel McAdams, I'm sorry. Hold it in.
I mean, sometimes you can't when something's that silly, though. Am I right? It's like when you're at a funeral and a pigeon shits in the casket, you know?
Have you had that?
I'm hoping.
That it'll happen to you?
Someone that I know.
How about this? If you die before me and you have an open casket funeral...
It won't be an open casket.
Not a chance.
No, not the way I'm living. Then Rachel McAdams and Owen Wilson start flirting at the wedding, at the reception. It's fine. It's cute, you know.
His strategy is to be like, yo, I bet I could tell you every item.
Yeah, he's like
gifts.
guessing all the gifts, which is like, he's a creep. He's trying to steal the gifts. Number one.
Yeah.
Also, if he is a psychic, do you really want to be with a psychic? Would you want to be with a psychic?
No. If they were like, if they could genuinely like read my mind, no.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be very good. Because they'd be like, oh, he's fucking stupid.
Me?
No, me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if Hillary could read my mind, she'd...
Sorry, I said, oh, yeah, as if I was like...
Hillary would have left years ago if she could read my mind, because she'd realize there's nothing going on up there.
Well, she'd read your mind, and she'd just hear... I was about to go, jelly beans, I need jelly beans.
I love jelly beans, that's my thing.
Do you actually, or do you
No,
not?
I don't.
Dude, I used to always get jelly beans from like a vending machine and then give my dad all the black ones.
That's dirty.
Sometimes I'd get like 90% black ones, and I'd basically eat like 2 jelly beans and give my dad like 12. I just don't like black licorice. What a story. Man. Yeah, what a story. It was at the Guelph Public Pool.
What a tale he just wove for us, kind listeners.
If I really was weaving a good story, I would say I'm not that young.
What?
In reference to them saying the I'm young, well, not that young line.
Oh,
twice.
yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Dude, rough time. Rough time so far.
This is going pretty rough, huh, Hillary? She just smiled and laughed.
I wouldn't classify that as a laugh. That was a...
I mean, it's a laugh when she's this tired.
Okay.
I little love her. She gave me the finger.
That's good.
I don't know, man.
Okay, well, let's just start from the top a little bit.
Thoughts on the movie.
I mean, like, thoughts on the movie.
I think it's good. This is like, okay, here's the take. Hold on. Let me get organized. Okay. This is the peak for a lot of these people that are in this movie. Especially for our 3 stars, which I would classify Owen, a star, Vince, and Rachel as a star.
Correct.
Christopher Walken, I think, is billed above her because he's Christopher Walken, though.
I guess so.
And, like, so let's talk about Rachel McAdams.
Okay, sure.
So this comes out in 2005. 2004 is Mean Girls and The Notebook.
Damn.
Hillary cheered for The Notebook. And then after this is Red Eye, which almost makes $100 million. Then The Family Stone, which also almost makes $100 million. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of starts to fall apart. But then she's in Time Traveler's Wife in 2009 and Sherlock Holmes. But like this
she's
is
in Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, she's like
just completely forgot.
She's
about
like
that.
the love interest kind of thing
with Robert.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But this is kind of like what people like. This 2004 is kind of like what Rachel McAdams is thought of as a movie star. And that's
I feel like Notebook, Mean Girls are her too.
She was only in 3 other movies before that. She was in My Name is Tanino, which I don't think anyone's ever seen.
She probably hasn't even seen it.
It's a 2002 comedy directed by Paolo Vizziri. The picturesque plot is about Tanino, an Italian liberal arts student who falls in love with a young American tourist he meets in Sicily and decides to track her down in the United States. Not going to watch that.
She has a lot of roles as like the quirky love interest.
Yeah, like she's that in About Time as well.
Yeah, which we've done on the pod.
She's kind of that in this movie.
Yeah.
Then she plays a 15-year-old in a movie called Perfect Pie.
Weird.
And then she plays like the lead role in The Hot Chick. Who likes The Hot Chick?
Is it good?
It's a Rob Schneider vehicle.
She's just smiling and nodding.
Look at this Nightmare Fuel.
Oh, interesting. Oh, it's Rob Schneider?
Yeah, at his peak.
Yikes.
Everyone's at their peak in these days. But this is also like a massive time for comedies in general.
Oh, yeah.
So, hold on. Hold on. Because this is going to blow your balls wide open.
All right, I'm excited.
So, This is like Wedding Crashers and 40-Year-Old Virgin pretty much come out within a year of each other. And it pretty much brings the R-rated comedy to like blockbuster levels, where it's like people will really go see these movies.
Yeah.
Because Anchorman came out the year before this, in 2004, and Anchorman made $90 million. This movie makes almost $300 million. Wedding Crashers.
On what budget?
On like $40 million.
That's pretty dang good.
Let me get the exact box office, because I didn't pull up all these. $288 million.
Nice.
And it's like, that's insane.
That's insane.
That's absolute insanity. And then later
I truly don't think that like a new non-sequel comedy, or even a sequel comedy at this point, could pull those numbers now. Like, I don't think people really see comedies in the theater anymore.
Well, there was that Jennifer Lawrence
mass.
one that came out, and it did like fine. Actually, it didn't really do that well. There was a new one that came out last week, produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, called Joyride with Stephanie Sue. I don't think it did that well. I guess Barbie, but that's like a franchise sort of thing.
Well, that's the thing. I think unless it's like an established thing, like Wedding Crashers is just, they came up with a funny script, they pitched it, they made it, and it blew up. I don't think that really happens now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And like Superbad also comes out around this time as well. And like,
when did Anchorman come out?
2004.
Oh, so around this.
It's the year before, yeah.
Yeah.
So Will Ferrell's like 2001, but I'll give you a bit of an abridged thing, to like 2009 is insane.
Yeah.
So 2001, he's got Zoolander. He's also in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Then he's in Elf and Old School in 2003. He's in Starsky and Hutch, which like doesn't exist anymore, but was a very expensive reboot of a show starring Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson that made $170 million.
Jeez.
It's like an action comedy. Will Ferrell's in that. Then he's in Anchorman. He's in the next year, Kicking and Screaming, where he's the soccer coach for the kids.
Yeah.
Then he's in Bewitched, like I don't know if it was $100 million, but a high budget reboot of the Bewitched TV show, directed by Nora Ephron, sorry. Cost $85 million. And like, did okay, but not very well.
Yeah.
His love interest was Nicole Kidman, or I guess he was Nicole Kidman's love interest. Then Wedding Crashers. Then the next year's Talladega Nights, and then Stranger Than Fiction, which is like a bit of his thing of like, I'm gonna get into drama a little bit more. It kind of doesn't really work. After that, 2007, Blades of Glory. 2008, Semi-Pro and Step Brothers. 2009, Land of the Lost. And then 2010, The Other Guys and Megamind. And then it kind of really goes down for Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Because that's like also kind of when studio comedies stopped working.
Yeah.
But it's like you had 9 years there where just like,
oh yeah, I feel like
fire.
Will Ferrell as a comedic actor had like one of the highest win rates, I guess, as far as like movie perceptions. Like I feel like there's a reason that his entrance in this movie is treated as such a big deal, because it's like, oh dang, it's Will Ferrell.
But that's also a little surprising,
because it's a little early.
Yeah, because it's like he has Anchorman that comes out, but before that, Zoolander, he's the villain. He's just kind of a side part. Then before that, he's also in like Austin Powers as... You've seen Austin Powers, right?
I've seen Goldmember. That's the only one.
Oh, I don't think he's in that one.
Yeah.
But in the first two Austin Powers, he's just like a guy that works for Dr. Evil. And he has a bit where he's just like screaming, and he gets dropped into a pit, and then he's just screaming, and he's like, oh, it hurts so much. But like, he's in both those movies for like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then for some reason they decided like, we got to give him this hero's entrance.
I mean, I guess they were giving him a hero's entrance more because the character had been talked about a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, it kind of works.
Yeah.
Because, like, then...
it's like the godfather of studio comedies is coming down to, like, christen the movie or something.
Yeah.
Especially looking at it now where it's like, I think the biggest comedy of all time, like just colloquially, like, that it feels like everyone's seen, is probably Step Brothers. I think everyone's
I'd say
seen it,
Step
like,
Brothers and
once.
Superbad are like the two like big ones that people go to where it's like, oh, what's your favorite comedy? Like, I feel like those two are the go-tos.
Especially since those don't have a similar problem to what this movie has, where it's like the end has like this weird, slow, emotional wrap-up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of my problem with this movie.
Well, yeah, I feel like Step Brothers like kind of commits to, like, there's some heart in there, but like they kind of commit to doing a comedic wrap up, so that it doesn't really lose its momentum. And then Superbad kind of like has sweet moments throughout that lead to a sweet payoff at the end.
Yeah, but there's still like jokes and there's still funny stuff.
Yeah, this movie kind of like has, honestly, I mean, we'll get into the content of it because I have some problems with it, but like for the most part, it has like a really great first two acts.
Yeah.
But then the third act feels so long
and so slow. Like,
yeah.
Once Chaz sort of calls his guys to get them to investigate Owen Wilson and like basically
not
actually
Chaz, Sack.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry.
That's it.
Basically after the stairway scene with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn is kind of when the movie starts to go down.
And that's honestly like the peak as well.
Yeah. Where he's like,
conversation.
Owen Wilson's just motorboated or just grabbed the mom's boobs. Vince Vaughn is been jerked off under the table.
Doing what he does best, which is saying about 400 words per minute.
And then after that, it's just like, okay, now we gotta get to the stuff. Yeah. Whereas like Superbad and Step Brothers don't really have that.
Yeah.
What do you think about Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn as sort of romantic leads, but also just like a pair in this movie?
So I'll start with Owen Wilson because it's the lesser interesting to talk about. I think he's fine. He's got a bit of a... Honestly, like, when I think Owen Wilson, the two movies I think of are Night at the Museum and Marley and Me.
Really?
I mean, I've only seen this movie, like, for the first time last year, and then now...
Well, it's more because, like, he's also in a lot of the early Wes Anderson movies. Okay, so he's in, like, Bottle Rocket and, like, Royal Tenenbaums.
Haven't seen it.
Well, someone's a scumbag.
The only one I've seen him in is Grand Budapest Hotel, and he's literally in, like, 2 shots.
Yeah.
But,
what about Cars?
Oh, I guess he's in... I mean, yeah, he's in Cars, yeah. But, like, I don't know. In this movie, his face looks kind of weird. Okay. I just feel like in most movies I've seen him in, he has, like, a little bit of facial hair, and it kind of helps distract from how rectangular his head is. And in this one...
Were you high when you watched this? Why were you thinking about his face?
I mean, the first time. But then, like... what was I gonna say?
I got no clue.
Oh yeah, it was last night as well.
Nice.
I watched it. So so yes, both times.
But, okay, good.
Like, I don't know, he's just so smooth. His face is so smooth in this one. I just like had a hard time. Like it would be a like close up on Rachel McAdams giving her classic like quirky, relatable girl performance, and I'd be like, you know what? Honestly, this is pretty believable. And then it would cut to Owen Wilson, and he'd just be like, well, I don't know. And I'd be like, I don't...
He does look very manicured in the movie.
Well, I don't know.
There's something about him that feels like a little too clean, especially because it feels like the movie should be... like the time frame for the movie should be longer.
Mm-hmm. But it's literally like 2 days.
Yeah. So you're kind of like...
Maybe like 3 or 4, but...
I feel like this guy's gone through fucking hell.
Yeah.
And he still looks pretty much the same as he did at the start.
Yeah. Even when he's like Vince Vaughn goes to check on him and he's like kind of a
bit of a mess.
A hermit in his apartment. Like, he still looks fine. He just has like, he's just wearing a bathrobe and has raggedy hair.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I think I also just don't really believe his performance very strongly. Like, I don't, when he's like pouring his heart out or like saying how he feels about something, I just don't really believe it. It's just like it's like the same delivery as when he's doing jokes or when he's just like talking normally. But he's fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think both of them are like pretty good.
Well, now I want to talk about Vince Vaughn.
I think Owen Wilson's fine.
Yeah. The first note I wrote down was that this is a Vince Vaughn masterclass. Like, this is like truly...
This is what you want Vince Vaughn to be doing.
Yeah. I want him to be talking too fast, saying a lot of things. I want to have to rewind to hear what he said again, to even know what he's talking about, but to love it.
You want him to have a little edge, a bit of a scumbag energy.
But like, I feel like in all these characters, yeah, he's like a little bit of like...
He's like a live wire.
Yeah. But he's also like... He's also kind of got like... heart and like cares about the characters that he's in the movie with.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
But he's a little touchy, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta be a little careful around a man like him.
Yeah.
Man called Otto.
And especially in this movie, he's a good friend.
Yeah.
Like he's just
Owen Wilson is not really a good friend.
Yeah, Owen Wilson's not a
Vince
great
Vaughn
friend
is
in
a
this.
good friend.
Vince Vaughn consistently, I mean, we'll get into it a bit more in a bit, but like is consistently being borderline tortured, not borderline, but actually sexually assaulted, and harassed.
But then he marries her.
But then he marries
Oh, he's
her.
also sexually assaulted by Todd, kind of.
Yeah. But like, and then, so he's going through that and he's literally like, I can't do this anymore. We have to go home. And Owen Wilson's like, I need my best friend to be here so I can flirt with this girl that's getting married.
And then he's like, all right. And then he loads up a plate.
Yeah, then he's like,
Las
fine,
Vegas.
but I'm eating all of this food.
And I need to be alone for a second. And then he turns around and you're like, oh, he's going to leave. And then he sits at the counter right across from Owen Wilson. And then Owen Wilson's like, love you, buddy.
And he's like, love you too. Or he's like, can I say something without you getting angry? I love you. And then he's like, love you too. I did like that moment because that felt very much like, I don't know. I believed their friendship there. I'm just going to say a Vince Vaughn quote that I really liked that was during that as well. He says, I don't know, you throw me in the lion's den, stomp on my head while I'm drowning, or something.
Yeah. It's just the way he says things where it's like he's saying half sentences, but it all makes sense and it's all funny.
Yeah. Like, when I was watching, especially at the beginning, Vince Vaughn is, like, talking to, I guess, like, the, like the office front desk assistant who's, like, talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like talking about why he doesn't want to date or like why he doesn't want to talk to women.
Mm-hmm.
And he just rants for literally, I mean, honestly, it was probably only 30 seconds, but it felt like about 5 minutes because he's saying so many words. And I could tell during that, I was like, oh, this killed in the theater for sure. Like people being like, that's especially in like 2005 whenever it came out, being like, that's exactly what dating's like, bro. Like it's all the mixed signals and shit, and this guy gets it.
He really it's similar to like his Four Christmases character.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like disillusioned with marriage, but like he still does the fast talking thing.
Yeah.
I think Four Christmases has some problems, but I think it's probably one of his better.
I mean, I think it has the same problems as this movie, where it's like funny for the first 2 acts, and then in the last act, they're like, all right, we gotta wrap up the sentimental stuff.
Hey guys, relax. Stop laughing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to see these guys not like each other now.
Remember, it's a romantic comedy. We've done the comedy.
Now we gotta get the romance.
Yeah. But yeah, I truly think this is just like Vince Vaughn, like doing what he does best. And I think, truly think, actually I'll just say the overall thoughts note that I said, because it's kind of in the same vein. This movie is absolutely carried by Vince Vaughn. Owen Wilson's love plot is fine, but without Vince Vaughn, the movie is mid and not a comedy.
Yeah.
sexual assault jokes aside, it's pretty good.
Yeah, you know, it's a relic of its time.
Well, which like you and I have been kind of watching like older comedies like on and off for the past year or so, and like it's pretty common that they don't hold up, or like a lot of jokes don't hold up because like
Yeah, there's usually one thing at least in a comedy from like the early
2015.
Yeah, where you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
And even some post, like
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect movies are kind of fucked up.
I've never seen them.
Yeah, it's
so,
fucking weird.
Yikes. But yeah, it's just like I feel like there's a span of like 15 minutes in this movie where all of the jokes are like, it goes from Vince Vaughn getting jerked off under the table against his will immediately to like the mom approaching Owen Wilson and making him touch her boobs.
Classic.
And then
that's classic. That happens all the time.
Yeah, and then it goes straight to the conversation in the hallway or like on the staircase between them. But then it goes straight from that. Vince Vaughn walks up the stairs and he's
like tied to the bed, right?
Yeah, he gets tied to the bed and he goes into his bedroom and like carries the grandma because she's sleeping in his bed and moves her. But then Isla Fisher's character ties him to the bed and puts his socks in his mouth and ties him with duct tape. And it's like, he's literally saying no. Like, it's so blatant. He's literally saying no. She's like doing it anyway. And then it kind of fades to black. You assume that they had sex while he was tied and screaming. Like, he's literally resisting, trying to rip his hands out of the ties. And then immediately after that, it's Todd, like, he doesn't actually do the same thing, but he basically says he's going to until he convinces him otherwise.
Though. He's been giving Todd signs.
He does play, what was it, tummy sticks?
Yeah.
Where he like puts his wiener on Vince Vaughn's stomach or something. So he does that, which is also of the paint. I mean, the painting's pretty good.
Apparently Vince Vaughn kept the painting after the movie.
Well,
hot.
It's a good painting. But I don't know. It's just like that. All of those things happened back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was literally just like, it felt like 15 minutes of sexual assault jokes. And it's like, I didn't really find like the Isla Fisher tying him and him saying no and them having sex anyway funny. But I did find her jerking him off under the table funny. Mostly just I think Vince Vaughn just plays it perfectly. I just think Vince Vaughn's really good at like turning it into a joke.
Part pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, especially I think the stairway scene honestly kind of like makes that scene a bit better. It's just like a little strange because like it is a comedy and like Vince Vaughn is so good, like his delivery on everything is so good. It feels weird to want to laugh at Vince Vaughn so much, but like I said, such a large span of the movie is just like non-consensual sexual action as the joke. Because it's literally just like, haha, it's funny because he doesn't want it.
Let's move off of this topic. I'm not finding this very interesting, if I'm being completely honest.
Actually, I know how to phrase it, but then we'll move on. I think the reason I think the under the table jerk off thing is funny, but I don't think that the tied to the bed thing is funny, is because like, the joke for the jerking off under the table is that it's happening like while the whole family is there. That's the joke. Whereas the joke with the bed, like him not wanting it is the joke. So it's like that feels pretty like shallow and like not well written. Whereas like at least the table thing, it's like the social situation is funny. Anyway, I just feel weird talking about it. It's
and
just
you
like,
still did.
And I still did. I mean, there's just like truly no good way to address it other than like, if I was writing a movie, I would not put any of that in it, you know?
So we watched another one of the big Vince Vaughn comedies together at some point.
The Watch?
We did watch The Watch, but I was talking about Old School, which is before this.
Yeah.
But we've also watched The Watch together. We watched Four Christmases. The only big Vince Vaughn comedy I guess we haven't watched, it's not Fred Claus, is Couples Retreat.
We watched that.
we watched Couples Retreat together?
Yeah, you were over one time.
Or did I fall asleep?
We watched the first half and then you fell asleep, and then I watched the second half by myself.
What'd you think of that one?
It was fine. I mean, yeah, it was fine.
So, because he basically goes old school 2003, I guess Dodgeball. We watched Dodgeball together 2004. Wedding Crashers 2005. Four Christmases 2008. Couples Retreat 2009. And The Watch 2012. And all of these movies do pretty well.
I used to love The Watch.
You don't anymore?
I mean, we watched it. It was fine. I feel like I really liked it as a kid because it was one of the first R-rated comedies I watched. So, like, Vince Vaughn feeling alien blood on the car and being like, feels like cum. Like, I was like, holy shit. I remember that being when I found out what cum was.
Let's fucking go.
Because I was like, hey, brother and his friends who are showing me this movie. What's cum? So,
and that's like, I'll show you.
Yeah. So thanks, Vince Vaughn, for teaching me a lot about cum.
There we go. So Old School makes $86 million on like $20 million. Dodgeball, another $20 million budget, $168 million.
Man, comedies really don't make that money anymore, do they?
Oh, not at all. And then we talked about this one, $40 million, like almost $300 million.
Yeah.
Then he's also in The Breakup in 2006 with Jen Aniston, which I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is probably going to be like a bomb. I've never heard of this movie. Cost $52 million, made $205 million.
I mean, that's Jennifer Aniston, like,
and Vince Vaughn, but Vince Vaughn at the height of his power.
I guess so.
And then you've got Four Christmases, and like, how much would you say that Four Christmases made if you had to guess?
Can you tell me what the budget was?
$80 million.
I would guess that it made like, if I'm being like shooting for the stars here.
True to yourself.
My gut for some reason is like 210 mil.
A little high, but 163.
That's still
good.
kind
of wild.
I was gonna say 185,
but it's also wild that movie cost $80 million.
Yeah. I expected you to say like 30.
Yeah. Which I think is the problem.
I guess it's all the stunts because Jon Favreau's tossing them around.
Yeah. They need like registered UFC fighters. But like. And I guess the cast is big too, because all the parents are pretty big actors.
I mean, that's the same thing with Couples Retreat as well. I feel like most of the cost is going to like actors.
Well, yeah, it's like, so these movies are getting pretty much increasingly more expensive. Like Old School, I don't think Anchorman cost all that much. Like maybe $40.
I don't think the first one did. I mean, I feel like that's
Anchorman
kind of
cost $26 million.
Yeah, and let me get. I mean, if you're able to, I'm assuming the second one cost like.
Probably 100.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pull up the second one, but like, it's sort of a similar thing to what's happening with this big franchise movies that we have now, where it's like they started off like relatively inexpensive, like $100 million, but for a big franchise movie, that's not that much. And then they're successful, so they put more money into them, but then they stop making as much money. So like you've got $300 million Indiana Jones movie making like not that much.
Well, yeah,
at the box office. So also, the second Anchorman cost $50 million.
I mean, still double. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of a trap that a lot of studios are falling into with movies. Is they'll make something for cheap, and then they'll be like.
But like, okay, so $60 million for Couples Retreat. How much do you think it made?
I don't know, 130.
$171 million.
Okay.
So like, that's still making money. And then we go to The Watch, cost $68 million. How much do you think it made?
90.
$68 million.
Incredible.
It's like, Love that. Drops off a cliff in like 3 years. And then for Vince, like, you know, this is a bit anecdotal because it's like we're only focusing on Vince Vaughn, but you can look at Will Ferrell's career in like 2011. He's in Megamind. He's in the Tim and Eric movie. Then he's in The Campaign. And it's like, how much does The Campaign make? $104 million on $95 million.
Yeah.
Like, these movies just kind of stop working, and they're also too expensive. So then people in Hollywood are like, okay, we're done. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Even though, like...
Just make it for cheaper, guys.
Yeah, just think of ideas
like
that... Because the thing is, like, people say now the reason you can't make comedies is because you need to pay the stars so much. But like, what were we doing before when we were making like Old School and 40-Year-Old Virgin and all these like small comedies? And they were doing well with people that you hadn't really heard of. Like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'll use this movie as an example as well. Booksmart.
yes.
The movie honestly didn't do great in theaters. It only made $25 million.
And they barely advertised it too.
Yeah. However, the budget, can you guess?
Like 12.
$6 million.
Which is shocking because that movie looks great.
How is Booksmart... Like, I've seen Booksmart. I've seen The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis. How in the world is Booksmart's $6 million budget look so good, written so well, acted so well, and then The Campaign is, what was it, $68 million? What'd you say?
95.
$95 million.
That movie is dog shit.
It is absolute,
Sorry
genuine
to
trash.
anyone who worked on The Campaign, but it's not good.
Over its entire runtime, I think maybe you and I chuckled like 3 times.
There's like a funny thing where like I think he gets pulled over for a DUI and Will Ferrell acting drunk is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then there's like some jokes with Zach Galifianakis' dogs that are like, you know, you'll breathe out of your nose a little hard.
Yeah.
But then that's about it.
Yeah. $95 million for The Campaign is egregious. Like, truly, like, I was looking up the Booksmart budget knowing that it was low. I was guessing it was like $18 million. $6 million is like nuts.
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing to...
And there's a lot of locations, but the thing is they have a lot of like young stars.
So do that again, guys. Well,
there's a movie coming out soon called Theater Camp. That has a lot of the same Booksmart people in it. Like Molly Gordon's in it.
Nice.
Jimmy Tatro's in it too.
Nice.
And then I don't know everyone from Booksmart, but a lot of the people that we like in Booksmart are also in it.
I've never heard of it. I'm excited.
I think it comes out soon. But like, there's that. There's also Shiva Baby, the director of Shiva Baby, and Rachel Sonnet have a movie coming out this summer called Bottoms, which is supposed to be really good. And it's just like...
Well, that's the thing. I think they like... This is what happened. I think studios were doing a lot of movies with like up and coming comedic actors, and then some of them hit, and then they were like, let's keep using these actors, but because the actors are like gaining more notoriety and fame, they're gonna demand more money. And
also those actors were pretty, like, getting pretty old. Like, 40-Year-Old Virgin works because Steve Carell was like fucking 40.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a young guy when he hit.
Yeah.
So you've got like Will Ferrell, who's also like mid-30s when he's hitting and 40s when he becomes a big star.
Yeah.
So like they're asking for more money, obviously, because they're older. They can also ask for more money.
Yeah. So obviously they're going to get that money because they're good. But like, I'm sorry. Like, I'd rather watch Booksmart than The Campaign every time.
Yeah.
Another one, Sherlock or Holmes and Watson.
Oh, that's like
one of the prime examples.
It's deplorable.
Like, it's advertised as the return of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly as a duo on screen, and it absolutely bombed.
But it's not... Like, the thing is, it's not directed by Adam McKay.
Yeah.
It's directed by a guy whose name is Ethan Cohen.
Okay. One of the Coen brothers.
Not Ethan Cohen.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, here's another example. Just because you were talking about these big franchise movies. Deadpool, the first Deadpool, $58 million budget.
Yeah.
How much did it make? It made
like $1 billion or something, didn't it?
I can't see on this screen.
Do you want me to look it up? Are you okay?
I guess I can just check. Sorry.
It made like literally like $1 billion.
$782 million. Yeah, so that's like, holy cow. And like the first Deadpool, I do really like the first Deadpool movie. Then the second Deadpool movie, budget of $110 million.
And the second Deadpool movie is fine.
Yeah, it was fine. There were moments I liked, it was fine. But like, I remember like at the time even, but like also now looking back being like, dude, I feel like they like having a higher budget kind of like takes away.
Everything gets more complicated then.
Yeah.
Like,
because they're like, oh, we can do more, we can do bigger.
So you hire more people, and there's more shit to coordinate, and you can be less, like, free on the day.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not as much Ryan Reynolds making jokes, which I still think he's good at. I just don't like what he's been doing recently.
Sure. You don't like the Adam Project?
Not quite, actually.
Almost there. Yeah, I don't know.
And then Will Ferrell, like, and then these guys just kind of, like, find something that works and then do it. Like, it is bewildering to me that Daddy's Home works. Like, it's good enough. But it made $250 million.
Oh yeah, they made a sequel.
And and like, I don't know, man. Like, he's in. Oh, apparently Will Ferrell's in Barbie. Oh, I think
dude, everyone's in Barbie.
That's true.
Dude, I'm honestly most excited for Michael Cera.
Barbie and Oppenheimer are employing the entire T of Hollywood.
Can I go like completely unrelated for a minute and then we jump back into Wedding Crashers?
I think so.
I saw an interview on like Good Morning America or something with Michael Cera, and he goes, can I just like quickly say like happy birthday to my niece because she's probably watching right now? And they're like, sure. And he's like, oh, happy birthday, my niece's name. And then they're like, oh, that's sweet. And he's like, yeah, she's a good kid. She's the daughter of my sister who I don't really have contact anymore. She's cut me off. And then it just gets quiet, and then he goes, that was a joke. I was joking. It's just like the entire studio got quiet because everyone's like, oh. It's like, it's just very
what's going on with Michael Cera?
I love that guy, man.
We watched the first episode of Arrested Development, and like, kid's so fucking young, man.
Yeah, what a little guy, dude. I love watching super bad bloopers because he just seems like he just seems like a kid that I would know when I was a kid.
Seems like you.
I'm sure.
We got to do a little something on Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We both like Bradley Cooper a lot.
Yep.
This is his first big movie.
Really?
Yeah, this is like the one where it's like, oh, who's this guy?
I was wondering how they got Bradley Cooper to
he was a
play Sack.
So this is his 5th movie that he was in. His first movie, I really like, Wet Hot American Summer. We should watch that together.
Okay, so that was probably his like, I mean, how big is his role though?
He's like a main character.
Okay, then that was his big break, not this.
No, but it wasn't though. It made like, like it was a
isn't that a cult
for
classic?
His career. It's a cult classic that made $290 million or $290,000.
Oh wow.
So that was not a big movie at all, but he's great, man.
Yeah.
Then he's in a movie called Changing Lanes in a deleted scene, and Changing Lanes is a Ben Affleck and Samuel L. Jackson movie. All right, but he's only in a deleted scene. Then he's in My Little Eye, a British horror film. Okay. And then he's in Bending All the Rules, which is an American romance film written and directed by Morgan Kline and Peter Knight, starring Bradley Cooper. Let's see how many people saw that. Probably like 12. But then he's in Wedding Crashers, which is one of the biggest blockbusters of the year.
And I could see everybody being like, dude, Sack is so funny.
Oh, there's no box office stats for Bending All.
Oh, nice.
And also I'm worried my computer's going to die soon.
Nice. So let's wrap it up, probably.
So he's in Wedding Crashers. And I think the thing that people take from Wedding Crashers is more about the drama and like the romantic comedy part. Because I think that's also a little bit of why it did so well. Because
anybody could see it.
Yeah, you can't really take your girlfriend
unless you're a child.
Like, not to be kind of sexist, but in 2003, dudes probably aren't taking their girlfriend to go see Old School. And Anchorman's probably a tough sell.
I feel like a lot of R-rated comedies were like directly aimed at like young adult men.
Yeah. And then this one is like, it's a comedy, it's got these guys in it, but it's also a romance movie, and it's about weddings, so it's like, hey, the girls can come too. Or it's like, it's an easier, I think, like, I'm just kind of like spitballing. Also, remember this is 2005, I'm thinking of it in the 2005 mind frame, where it's like, a dude could sell his girlfriend on going to a movie called Wedding Crashers more than he could sell his girlfriend on going to a movie called Starsky and Hutch or whatever. Right? So I think that's kind of why it did a little better. But Bradley Cooper's fucking incredible in this movie.
Well, because you also said The Notebook was before this.
Yeah, so then it's like,
So I feel like
Rachel
people
McAdams is
exactly.
in it.
I feel like you can be like Rachel McAdams is the like main lead, and it's like, oh, I loved her in The Notebook.
Yeah,
Boom.
and Mean Girls too.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's a comedy with Rachel McAdams, and she was in The Notebook. Oh fuck.
Meanwhile, the boys are like, Owen Wilson. I'm just,
Look at that guy's nose. I love his nose.
square jaw, square jaw.
But then he kind of gets stuck in like weird rom-com, like supporting role kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's always like the mythos around Bradley Cooper these days is like a guy who wanted to be an actor's actor, like a Marlon Brando kind of thing. And then he does this movie and he gets famous for playing like an asshole sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
And then he plays an asshole sidekick. And then he becomes super famous for The Hangover. And that's his thing. He's like that guy. He's the leader of the Wolf Pack.
And then he like blows up for being in the A-Team reboot.
Oh, yeah? He blew up for that one?
Yeah.
We tried to watch that, remember?
Oh, well, I watched it and then I was like, let's watch it again. But now you watch it and you fell asleep.
Yeah. But then he gets an Oscar nomination for Silver Linings Playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, oh, there's a little more to this guy than we thought.
Yeah.
That year he's also in A Place Beyond the Pines, which is a movie I kind of like.
Okay.
And then he's like in American Hustle. A couple years later, he's Rocket Raccoon in Guardians.
And then Star is Born.
Well, before Star is Born, though, the thing that really like, even beyond Silver Linings Playbook and The Hangover, is American Sniper. That movie
I forgot about
made
that movie, dude.
So much money. It's insane.
I mean, that's all. It makes sense because that's like Top Gun levels of like.
But it made $550 million. It's about
That's nuts.
a guy who went to war
Yeah.
and got Oscar nominations. And like, it's insane how much money that.
I mean, America loves war.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that one?
Just like on the grapevine.
But it's like the movie's nominated for Best Picture. He's nominated for Best Actor. The screenplay's nominated. The editing's nominated. And he gets a nomination for sound mixing and editing, which still don't know the fucking difference between those two things.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% on this, but I'm pretty sure sound mixing is like the sounds themselves.
And editing is how they sound.
Yeah, like using Star Wars as an example, because that's the easiest thing. Sound mixing would be like creating the lightsaber sound and the sound of R2-D2, whereas sound editing would be like cutting it to like fit the like movie well. I think that's the difference, but I'm not 100%.
And that American Sniper is directed by Clint Eastwood also. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And then 2018 is when he's like, he kind of transcends and becomes the guy he wanted to be the entire time. Because after that, he's also in like Aloha and Burnt and War Dogs and a bunch of like other things.
I heard Burnt was okay.
I mean, they're all like, I've heard they're all fine. But like A Star is Born is where it's like, this guy's another fucking level. Like this guy can play this character. There's all the stories about him like, lowering his voice. And
I listen like
you still
somewhat
listen to
consistently.
the song?
I listen to some Bradley Cooper songs from Star is Born.
Yeah.
And I only watched that movie once.
And that makes Bradley Cooper like more of a like an institution where it's like, because he directed also, I should say that he directed A Star is Born.
Cradley Booper.
But like seeing him in this movie,
it's a little strange. He's like got a buzz cut. His eyes look bloodshot the whole time. He's insane.
And he almost won an Oscar for the Joker too. Did you know that? I guess not almost, but like
For the Joker?
For Joker. Because he's a producer on Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it got nominated for Best Picture.
I had no idea. I actually have seen Bradley Cooper pop up as like a producer on like a surprising amount of projects.
What else is he? Let me see. He's a producer on Nightmare Alley. He's a producer on War Dogs. He was also a producer on American Sniper and American Hustle and Silver Linings Playbook and The Words. I don't know what The Words is. That sounds fake. Yeah. Anyway, Bradley Cooper's incredible. And he also has that little, like, cameo, spoilers, I guess, for Dungeons & Dragons, where he's in Dungeons & Dragons, which I haven't watched.
It is on Netflix, though. And I've heard good things from people who love Dungeons & Dragons, so.
Our friend Matt?
And our friend Will.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Both of them. Yeah.
Anyway.
I do really like Bradley Cooper. I haven't seen Guardians 3 yet, but, like, I truly think that what he does in Guardians, like...
is incredible.
The fact that I watched the first Guardians and I was like, yo, Rocket Raccoon is like now one of my favorite characters. And then I was like, wait, that's Bradley Cooper.
Have you seen 3 yet?
No, I just said I haven't seen 3
yet.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm waiting for it to go.
I actually don't listen to you, so.
I know, it's okay. I'm just waiting for it to go on Disney Plus, but.
It's like a Rocket movie.
That's what I've heard, that it's like mostly about Rocket. Yeah. Which makes me concerned.
No, I think it's.
No, it makes me concerned that, like, he goes bye-bye.
Oh.
But, like, no spoilers on that.
Anyway, I don't know if I have many other things to say. I think we should probably get into questions and stuff before my computer dies.
Oh, I have... Let me just say a couple things from my notes. I like that, like, the big... like montage of them going to all the weddings at the beginning. I think it's really well edited. I think it goes on a little too long, but not much.
It like dies down, and then they have that little conversation, which I think is cool. But then it goes back, and you're like, and that's when they have the stuff where like they're naked falling on the bed, right?
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, I guess this would play in a theater, but I'm kind of just sitting here at home. I could, we could Google this.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they honestly could have. Even if they cut like 20 seconds off of it, I think it would have made a big difference.
A slightly interesting thing is that it seems like nudity is kind of coming back in comedies a little bit.
Like now, the year 2023?
And especially like, because that Jennifer Lawrence movie is an R-rated comedy.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where she's like fully nude fighting people in it.
Interesting.
I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
And there's another movie that just came out where it's like, there's a sort of a naked scene. Scarlett Johansson goes like full frontal naked in Asteroid City.
Interesting.
Well, I not like, which isn't me being like praised for the movie, but it's like there was a long time where it's just like there was not a lot of nudity in movies, for better or for worse, whatever you think. It's like,
I think that there was kind of like a shift, because I think around the time of this movie, it was kind of like, yo, dude, there's like, you could see full boobs in this movie. Yeah. Or like, oh, in such and such movie, you can see a full like shaft of some guy's dick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But like, then I think it kind of stopped, because I think people were like, you can't just like get a laugh out of me by showing a wiener. Or I
also think it was just like less interesting to people.
Where I think now it's less that people are like, people want to see nudity. I think it's more just like, why not? Like, yeah. I think it's if it serves the joke, if it serves the scene, then like, sure. I don't think many people care anymore. A bit where it's like,
we're not doing it to not objectify people.
Yeah.
So like, there's no objectifying, which is like, you could have like 3 people watch the same scene and all have different opinions on whether it's objectifying to someone.
I mean, I think it, like in this movie, the scene, because it's like these girls falling onto their backs onto a bed topless. Like, I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is like the only scene they have in the movie. They were hired because they were okay with having their tops off, which is like, even though like they were definitely like asked and then agreed to it, it still is like a little bit weird that it's like they're very obviously just trying to like get a foot in the door of Hollywood, and then there's a big movie with big stars coming out and they're like, hey, can you take your top off for it? They'll probably say yes. There's something a little weird about that, whereas I feel like now it's a lot more like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like now...
there's also a weird thing with Isla Fisher in this movie where it's like she was supposed to have 5 nude scenes and she talked them down to the 1. It's like, that's a little strange because she's not a big actress.
Did she have a nude scene? I can't even remember.
Well, when she's like on top of him after she ties him, she's like naked. But it's not like...
Isn't it from the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but like there's supposed to be 5 of those, like they wrote 5 in.
Yeah.
And she was like, maybe I don't need to be naked for all of this.
Yeah.
Like, I assume when she's like fixing his leg after the football game, she's probably written to be naked in that scene too.
Yeah. I feel like things have just kind of changed to be a little more like not use nudity for the sake of it anymore, but like also not shy away from it if it makes sense for the scene. Whereas like I don't know, I do think that there was like a little bit of a lull in that where people were like, nudity is unneeded.
Yeah,
and now it's kind of like back.
It's like, oh, we could do it if we want to.
Yeah, it's like if we want to. Whereas before it was like, we've gotta show it.
Because with the Jennifer Lawrence movie, she's like a producer. She's the star. It's getting made because she's in it.
Yeah.
And she gave an interview and she was like, everyone's seen all of it already. Like, she's been naked in movies, and then she also had her pictures leaked.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. Honestly, like, that's kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that is just her kind of like taking like control of it, because like she kind of, that was really an unfortunate thing. So like doing that kind of goes, yeah, it's in, I made this decision, it's back in my hands, which is kind of cool. Anyway.
And this concludes our segment of two dudes talking about ladies getting naked. I'd like to see more Shaft in movies, though.
I would like to see more.
It's always shocking when you see a Shaft.
And like real Shaft as well. Like that's the strange thing.
What was the thing I was just watching?
I feel like most movies that have like female nudity just shows it. A lot of movies that have male nudity, they use a prosthetic, and it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, show your balls. I watched this. The last thing before we get to the questions, there's this Andy Samberg like short movie, I guess like 40 minutes long, called 7 Days in Hell.
Okay.
Where it's about him, like the longest tennis match ever. It's a fake mockumentary kind of thing. But there's some really like funny shit in there, so I'd recommend that.
Hey.
A lot of like male nudity and stuff too.
Sick.
And like CGI renderings and shit. And, like, it's wild.
Well, speaking of CGI renderings, the only time I've ever seen female nudity in a movie and it wasn't actually showing it was
Blade Runner?
The Paul Rudd movie. The Paul Rudd
what is he
Judd
doing?
Apatow movie that you really like.
Oh, this is 40.
This is 40, where they like CGI over her boobs and put CGI boobs on.
Yeah. That's very strange. That's a very strange part of that movie.
Which like,
no, it just looks strange. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You can do, whatever, do whatever you want. But like, we all looked at it and we're like, did they like put prosthetics over
it was just very,
what's happening?
It's just a little off. Yeah. But anyway, I just thought that was
I'm at 10% on my laptop. So here's a question.
Let's wrap it up then.
Do you want to crash a wedding?
Honestly, like, while they were crashing weddings in the montage, I was like, this would be fun. And then at the end, when like it's the four of them and they're like, let's crash a wedding and pretend to be a folk band, a family folk band or something. Like, I was like, man, it would be fun to just like get a couple like pals together and just like go into a wedding, eat all their stuff, dance around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's just like,
I think
I'm too anxious.
Yeah. I'd be so nervous the whole time.
Also, like,
and I don't think it's bad.
I don't think you can crash weddings anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm sure you probably really couldn't then either. But like, it's so easy to figure out if someone's lying. Like with the thing about like, oh, we have a non-for-profit and about making homeless people clothing.
Yeah.
That's my Owen Wilson.
That's good. That's good.
You just fucking Google it and you realize that they're full of shit. And that's
like Bradley Cooper being like, I'm hiring a private investigator. Dude, I mean, I guess it was 2005, but still.
I think they just ignore, because the internet existed, but like maybe it doesn't have everything on there or something.
I mean, I feel like movies up to like 2013, 14 were like kind of just ignoring that everyone has cell phones. And
that's the other thing with comedies is like, if you have a cell phone, most comedic premises just kind of don't work.
Yeah. Like
Superbad doesn't really work if you have a cell phone.
Well, yeah, that's why like in Booksmart, they have to be like, we have no signal, no one's responding to us, like all these things.
Would you have gone to the house after the wedding to chase down a woman you thought you could love for the rest of your life, even though she doesn't know your real name?
I mean, I feel like I'd say yeah. Yeah. Just to go to that house.
You like that house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, a rich guy is like, hey.
The U.S. Secretary of Treasury.
Well, actually, here's the thing. If I'm invited to like a big house for like a weekend just to hang out and like do whatever, I'm saying yes. However, if I'm going with you and you're telling me, Adam, please, oh please, there's a psychotic woman who's like, I think like stalker level, like a problem.
Grade 5 clinger, virgin clinger.
Yeah. Then I'd be like, no. Like that's a bad friend Owen Wilson moment, but
yeah. I don't know, man. Would you ever try to pick up a girl at a funeral?
no.
Me neither. Seems like a lot of work, you know?
Excuse me.
I feel like even if it happened naturally and I didn't intend it, I'd still be like,
You'd be like, let's take
are
a
we
pause.
really gonna tell people that we met at a funeral, dude? Like that's yikes. Also, when Will Ferrell as Chaz is like pretending to cry at the funeral, no one is talking. He is screaming. Although I'm pretty sure you can still like faintly hear like the minister saying stuff.
Yeah, and he's like,
the minister saying stuff, and he's like, oh my god, and it's like, oh man, it's just anyway.
yeah. Do you think he ever got that meatloaf?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. What part do you think Adam Driver should play? I'm kind of running this show.
I'm gonna go with Owen Wilson.
Interesting.
Just because, like, I just feel like I'd rather him there. Here's the issue.
I feel like he could play Chaz.
Oh, Chaz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, oh, dude, he'd actually play a great Sack, man.
Oh, yeah. He'd be a pretty good Sack.
If he channeled his angry marriage story
Oh,
energy,
yeah.
but for comedic purposes,
We need to
I
be
think
his agent, I think.
genuinely.
Be like, hey, brother, let's not make 65 again.
Yeah. Well, I think genuinely that would. Apparently, he made that like so that he could, because his like son likes dinosaurs.
Oh, so
But
it's
then
one
he
of
was
those.
like, and then I like as we were making it, I was like, wait, this is definitely too scary for him to watch.
Yeah, you know.
Anyway, but like, I'd probably put him in the Sack role just because I think him being an angry psycho would be funny. But I also want to put him in Owen Wilson just because I feel like it would be more believable. But then I think, but between Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, I feel like he'd pull off the Vince Vaughn character better.
Yeah, I
But,
think
like-
he's closer to Vince Vaughn in like personality, like in being able to play that
Yeah.
personality.
But not a chance I'm replacing Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, you got to keep Vince.
So I'd
Maybe
probably
he plays Christopher Walken or
Maybe.
Todd. You could be Todd.
No, I don't want him as Todd. I think Todd is.
You know that's supposed to be Justin Long, or not supposed to be, but Justin Long auditioned for it and thought he had it, and then he didn't.
Interesting. That's very strange.
There's a little Hollywood insider information for you. I'm an insider, and you gotta ask me questions if you want to know the answers. Where do you want to rank this?
It's a good question.
I'm thinking it's kind of a middle of the pack.
I think it's middle of the packer as well.
I think it's probably below.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at around the 14, 15, 16 range. It's definitely below John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably put it below Isle of Dogs.
I would agree, yeah.
I think I personally would put it below Alita.
I think so as well. I think it's just above Police Story. I kind of like Kimmy more. Well, actually, that's not true. I think it's above Kimmy, below Alita.
But do you like it not as much as Turning Red and Apollo 13? See, here's the thing. I like 10 Things I Hate About You better than Wedding Crashers. But like...
Well, let's think about it again. It's not about what we like. It's objective.
Well, it's a mix, dude.
How objectively good is the movie? I like the movie, but there's like 40 minutes where it's like borderline fucking boring.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the problem with like a lot of these lower half movies where it's like there's a part in it where it's just like fucking end already.
Yeah.
And this movie's not very long either.
Well, it's 2 hours, which is, for a comedy, is a little long.
I guess so. I mean, I guess I'm used to 3 hours. Fucking Mission Impossible's 3 hours. Oppenheimer's 3 hours.
Barbie's 4 hours.
Yeah, Barbie's a mini series, but you have to watch it all in one sitting.
Yeah. Because honestly, my gut... Because, like, I like this movie. I think it's very, very funny.
Yeah.
But, like, my gut is to honestly put it, like, in the 20s area.
I'm feeling that, man.
Really?
Because then I was looking at Turning Red and Apollo 13, and I'm like, Apollo 13's better than this, I think.
I think 10 Things I Hate About You is better than this.
I think...
What do you think about that?
I think Batman's better than this.
Oh, dang, man. I do think we put this above Weird.
Yeah, I would agree. Because Weird's a different tier.
Yeah. Dude, we don't have... I mean, I guess we're getting them this month a little bit. But, like, I feel like we don't have a lot of movies that are, like, good, but not great. I feel like literally the bottom, like, 5 movies on our list are dog shit, garbage. And then it goes straight up to, like, pretty good. Like, you know? Like, we don't have many, like, mid to low movies.
Oh, wow.
That's okay.
It's okay, love. Hillary was just awoken. My pad of paper fell off the couch.
We're all good. So, Wedding Crashers at...
I already put it in
24.
Yeah.
Below the Batman, above Weird the Al Yankovic Story. Yeah, truly, it's crazy how, like, Weird, Wedding Crashers, the Batman are, like, in the bottom third of our list. I like all those movies.
Yeah, I think they're all, like, pretty good.
Yeah, so...
I don't know. I think
we're just not drawn to mid movies.
I think Marry Me is probably the epitome of what you're talking about. So we can talk about that next week.
Cool. Sounds good.
Marry Me is so, like, okay.
Nice.
So we'll see next week. My computer's at 6%. So
all right, so let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode. Sorry it was a little bit later this week if you're listening like actively as they come out.
Matt.
Calder's just been a busy boy. He's been running around driving 17 hours a day.
Dude, I've probably driven like 2,000 kilometers since I got married. That's not even a joke.
The thing you've done most since getting married is drive.
I drove to and from my dad's twice.
Yikes.
300 kilometers ish each way.
Yeah.
So that's 1,200 there. And Hillary just realized the numbers. Yeah, so we've been driving so fucking much. I think we're gonna go see Insidious tonight. Gonna be fucking baller.
Nice. I'm seeing Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Say hi to Optimus Primal for me.
I'll yell "Hi Optimus" in the
Hi,
theater.
Oppie.
Have you seen those videos that are people being like, people reacting to me saying something in the theater, and it's like them watching a trailer and they go, "I'm not watching that," really loud?
Yeah.
The first time I saw that, I was like, that's kind of funny. Saw it about 40 more times. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'll fucking kill you.
And that's where we'll end it. Thank you for listening.